Alright, so first thing that I have to show you, because I know some of you left your book home, is how to do this at home if you left your book. And simply, if you'll go to Launchpad on your computer, click Math, go to McGraw-Hill, and this is only if you don't have the book. If you do have a book, you can work out of your book, but if you left your book at school, you can still go get this online. You'll click on your appropriate class period and wait for it to download, but somewhere like Browse Courses, Program Resources, select Open. Now if you do have your book, you can skip through this to the notes, but Learning Resources, and right here where it says Student Print Edition, you can click that and it will take you to the online book, or actually online print version of the book, and you can still do this lesson even if you forgot your book at school. So no excuses when I see you on Thursday, and we talked about that last week. I hope you had a good break, and we'll get started. Okay, so lesson 5.4 talks about remainder and factor theorems, and there is some complicated language down here, but basically we're going to do synthetic division again, and we're going to use synthetic division to basically to find zeros, and we'll do most of that on Thursday, but a lot of this lesson is going to be a review of synthetic division now, which is good because you've already done synthetic division. So this will be a review, although you will want to watch this because there's going to be some new things about synthetic division that we add in here that you didn't do. Chapter 4, you were solely doing synthetic division, and there's more to it than that. So if you look at example 1, we're going to do synthetic division with -3. Now notice how they write it. They wrote it different in chapter 4, and I have alluded to this. So they did not change the sign. Why did they not change the sign? Because they didn't give you the factor. The factor that they're wanting you to try is x plus 3. So x plus 3 is the factor. When you have the factor, you change the sign. They are giving you the solution, which is what you're supposed to put in anyway. And again, just to restate this, if the factor is x plus 3, the solution is -3. And when you do synthetic division, that's what you put in. Now notice all this is the same. They do put a 0 here because this goes from 4 to 2. So we're skipping. We go x4, x3, x2, x, and constant. But other than that, so far, you can just repeat this process. So bring down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, and add, and we get a remainder of 81. Now sometimes if they say find f of -3, they are just wanting you to find the remainder. So in the next example we'll rewrite a polynomial, and we'll even use that polynomial to do more, but for right now they just wanted to know the remainder, and I got -81. So f of -3 is -81. Now there is some meaning here. We technically did division, and I know it's synthetic division. And we talked about last chapter, like we didn't get a remainder of 0. We do get a remainder of 0 lots of times. So basically I know because I got a remainder of 81, i.e. I did not get a remainder of 0, that x plus 3 is not a factor, and x equals -3 is not a solution. So when I divide it out, it's actually not a part of this polynomial, and I proved that by synthetic division. If I had gotten 0 for the remainder, it would have meant that -3 is a solution and x plus 3 is a factor. There's some deep meaning there, and we'll talk about the deep meaning more later. For right now, you can just practice. All right, fast forwarding to example 3, which begins on page 271. A lot of the same things here. They're going to want us to divide out something, and then if we read the directions, we're going to use that factor and solution to find the remaining factors. So example 3, they're wanting us to divide out x plus 8. Now they use -8 there, and again, why did they do that? Because they gave you the factor, and you were supposed to put in the solution, right? So -8, okay? They are basically telling you that it says show that x plus 8 is a factor, so I better get 0 for a remainder because they're telling you it's a factor. That means -8 is a solution. So if you don't get 0 for the remainder, you've made a mistake because they're telling you it is a part of this equation. But what they're wanting you to do with these problems, I guess let's go back and do the synthetic. Notice how they set it up: 2, 15, -11, -24. We bring down, we multiply, we add. You should have this process down. That will be -3, and of course I do get 0. Now there's a lot of little things here, and we'll go over more of them as we get further into the chapter, but basically I know that -8 is a solution, x plus 8 is a factor because of that remainder. I can use that remainder, or I can use these numbers to write a decreased polynomial. We practiced this last chapter too. 2x squared minus 1x minus 3, and they want us to go further. Now that it's quadratic, they want us to find the other factors and find the other solutions, which is possible. Now I'm going to stop here on this problem because it is a little bit difficult to finish. And I'll do some easier ones for you in the homework. Probably for you all, because this is a harder one to factor, and I kind of alluded to this last week. Now that it's quadratic, we can go back to our chapter 3 skills of doing quadratic formula, factoring, and possibly even graphing to get this answer. But synthetic division is a part of this. Now if you're going to actually factor, I would expect you to do an easier one than this one. This one we'd probably do quadratic formula. So when I get to the homework, I'll show you ones that you could probably do a little easier. All right. Now I'm not going to give you the full homework till the very end of the video. Maybe try to make you watch it all, or at least go to the very end of the video. But on this page, I do want you to do problems 1 through 8. And I only want you to substitute f of 2, okay? So we're not going to do that one. I'm going to simplify this assignment for you. Just 1 through 8 and then f of 2. And that reminded me that I need to show you something else that you might view as easier. And so 1 through 8 is just basically practicing synthetic division again. And since I've only worked 2 examples, I'm going to do number 1 for you. So you'll have one of them at least done and right. And so you should have the hang of this. Notice I didn't change my sign on the 2 because they gave me the solution. And I'll go through this process. Bring down, multiply, add, and multiply. Now when they're wanting you just to plug in and get the answer is the remainder. So I can just say the solution is -9. So -9 is the solution if we put in 2. And that's kind of it. Now what I didn't show you in the original notes is this is called synthetic division or synthetic substitution. So another way that you can get this answer, and it is all calculator based, is to plug the equation in, but wherever you see x, we're plugging in 2, right? So parentheses x squared, that's x cubed actually, plus 2 parentheses x squared, and again I'm plugging in 2, I'm saying x, and we should get the same answer. So the one way was synthetic division, the other way is synthetic substitution, and I did not get the same answer. That's awesome. So I either did something wrong, I did something wrong somewhere. All right, hold on. And I'm glad that I did this because I wouldn't know that I got the answer wrong. So it's a good check, and I'll show you what I did wrong here. Simple mistakes, and you know it's one that everybody makes. I am also not perfect. And the mistake I made was actually right here. -3 plus 8 is actually +5. So I should have gotten a +10, which means my answer for number 1 is actually 11. I'm not going to remake this video, but you can just see me fumble this. Anyway, it is 11, and I messed up my synthetic division. I'll give you the option when you're just looking for the remainder. I don't care which way you do it. It's easy to make mistakes either way. You can do synthetic substitution by the calculator or synthetic division by hand. It's kind of up to you. Now, the next page. So on the next page, they want you to use a factor, do synthetic division, and find the other factors. And again, I only want you to do this on easier types of problems. This is going to be harder enough. So I'm going to give you a few select problems at the end of the video to try here, and then we can talk. 23 is not a bad one. I'll do it for you. So again, we're going to do synthetic division. Now you can't do this one in your calculator because they're not just wanting the remainder, they are wanting actual factors. So we're going to have to write a quadratic from this. By the way, notice I slid in a 0 there because it went from x cubed to x. So x cubed, x squared, x, and constant. You should hopefully have this down. Another opportunity to learn it. If you didn't learn it in chapter 4, you saw me make a mistake, so there's plenty of opportunities to make mistakes. When we already know it's a factor, though, that 0 is a telltale sign. And so I took x plus 2 out of it. It gave me the quadratic of x squared minus 2x plus 1. And this should be something that, hold on just a second. Okay, and this is something that I would expect you to be able to factor. What's a multiple of 1 that adds up to -2? X minus 1 and x minus 1. By the way, there's a multiplicity here if you didn't notice. So what are the remaining factors? Well, one of them is x plus 2 because they gave it to me. The other one is x minus 1, x minus 1. I would even like for this book, which it's the next section, to find the zeros. I have now found all 3 zeros. They gave me -2. One of them's 1 and the other one is 1. Let me do one more, and I'll try to give you, like I said, I'll try to make it easy for you. 26 isn't bad. I'll do 26 for you. By the way, 23 will be part of your homework assignment. We'll see who watches the video and do it. So the next one is going to be 26, and of course I have to give you some to practice. So 3 goes there, 1, -1, -5, and -3. Synthetic division. That's 1, 3, 2, 6, 1, -3. Again, tell sign that I did this right. I know that x minus 3 is a factor, so I better get 0. This one's pretty easy to factor too because we get x squared plus 2x plus 1. That's a factor of 1 that adds up to 2. We get another multiplicity answer here, which is x plus 1, x plus 1. They all won't work like that, but that's your answers for 26. So let me think about what I want to give you for homework, and that's pretty much the lesson. We'll check this when I come back, and we'll go further. So we'll do 5.5, which will be your last lesson in chapter 5. Let me circle your homework on this page, and we'll get you well on your way on your online day. Okay, so I'm going to have you do 23, 26, which I did for you, 31, 32, 33, and 34, and the other 8 problems on that other page, and you should be good to go. So that actually shouldn't take you too long. We'll take questions, but I do expect this attempted when I come back. All right, have a good break, and I'll see you on Thursday.